How's this work? Ugh. Hello and welcome back to Tim Roadie Drive Stuff. I'm Tim and it has been a while, hasn't it? I've kind of forgotten how to do this. But I wanted to show you the car I've been living with for the past 6 months. It is my company car, which we'll get onto in a bit, but it has been mine for 6 months. I've been using it for family stuff. It's full of soiled nappies and crumbs. Not my nappies. I'm in big boy pants now. But anyway, it's a Ford Kuga, which on the face of it isn't desperately sexy, but after living with it for 6 months, this has kind of got under my skin in some reasonably surprising ways. So I just want to share that with you, do a quick video. It's not a full review as usual, but a quick walk around and to talk about some of the things I like about a car you might have forgotten about. Let's go. Right, just before we get going, I'm going to start this video with a very, very quick plug for Motorpoint's YouTube channel, because if you haven't found it yet, I now present on Motorpoint's YouTube channel. It's my day job. I'm doing loads of nearly new car reviews. I've done reviews of things I've not done on this channel yet. Skoda Citigo, Audi TTS, BMW M340D, Mazda MX-5. Loads of reviews. It's still this same bald, bearded, sarcastic man, but with an actual cameraman, so it looks vaguely professional. But go and check it out. It's Motorpoint. This isn't a plug to tell you about how they're the best place to buy a nearly new car or why you can go and drive away a car the same day, why they're all still in warranty or any of that. It's not that. But anyway, let's look at my Kuga. So why do I have a Kuga as a company car? To be honest with you, when I joined back in February, I didn't actually get a choice. I just got told, you're having a Ford Kuga. And my heart slightly sank, but then I've kind of forgotten how good the new Kuga is and how good it looks. I think it's got so much class. This is a titanium edition version, so you've got these horizontal chromy bits on the grille, which is, as I said in a previous video of this, a bit like an Aston Martin DBX, just slightly more Essex, which suits me because I'm from Essex and I've got Burberry underpants from the 1990s. But yeah, I like it. The headlight's brilliant at night, really, really bright, and it's got all sorts of advanced stuff on it. I do like the fact that this has got proper sidewall on it. Look at those chunky boy tyres. They do mean, well they should mean, it rides well. And it sort of does. There are caveats to that, which I'll get onto in a minute, once this discovery's run me over. Yes, and you will slightly have to forgive the fact this has a lot of dead flies on it. You wouldn't believe this, but I actually took this through a car wash this morning, but these flies are quite baked on. I took it to France with my family for a week and a bit, and we killed lots of stuff in the air using the Kuga. Now, yeah, it's a practical family SUV, and it's kind of fitted into my life really quite nicely, to be honest, simply because it's got loads of room in the back for my kids, and the boot is rather large. I think it's 421 litres if you have these seats here slid all the way back, and it gets up to 600 and something litres if you put them forwards. I've just had the seats like that, to be honest, all the way back. And the boot has still been big enough for a big family holiday abroad with a pram and all that stuff in it. And there's a little bit of space under here where you'd normally find a spare wheel. I've just thrown the parcel shelf under. And the parcel shelf's actually a really soft bit of fabric that you can just twist up to put away. So I've liked that. I'll show you the back seats. I'm not going to climb in, because I've got my child seats in, and also I did a video of a Kuga on the Motorpoint YouTube channel, so go and check that out if you want to see me actually climbing into it. But look, that seat's in my driving position, and my baby seat does fit in, albeit slightly rubby against my driving seat, but I can put that forward a centimetre to fix that. Round the other side, I've got my 3-year-old a new child seat which doesn't have a base, because I know in previous videos people were whinging that my child seats were too big and I could get smaller ones. So there we go, I've got this new one here which doesn't have a base, which is an absolute godsend because I can now use the floor to store stuff on because I don't have that leg. But yeah, in the back, it's weird, you've got a USB-A and a USB-C down there. You've only got USB-A's up the front. And I'll show you the front quickly now. Yeah, this is where I've spent 8,000 miles so far in this car in 6 months, and my bum has been there a lot. Believe it or not, I have actually tidied this up. There is still a rogue seashell there from my holidays. And I would say these rubber bits, they do collect a lot of mess, but you can take them out, chuck them in the kitchen and wash them up. And same in the cup holders. They've got removable rubber linings, which are quite handy. It's just like washing the blood out of your mortuary, except my mortuary is full of flapjack crumbs and milkshake effluent. Right, let's talk about the infotainment quickly, because it's actually impressed me. It does take a little while to boot up sometimes. And to be honest, I like it because I've not had to use it, because you can plug in for Apple CarPlay, and I've just used that pretty much. I've exclusively used Google Maps, Spotify for my music, and I've been really happy with it. And because this is a titanium edition, I don't know if you can see on the dashboard, there we go, don't know if you can see that, but this has got the B&O hi-fi in it, which sounds really rather pumping. I don't know why I just did that. That was on cue. But yeah, the bass in this is really, really good, and it still keeps some clarity in the treble register. Big door pockets for bottles of water, as you can see there. That's a big old bottle from a recent motorbike track day I did in the heat. Go and check out Tim Rudy Rides Motorbikes. And the digital dashboard there is really clear. You can't actually do a whole lot with it. If you use CarPlay, you never get your maps up here, but you can see your miles per gallon and everything, and I don't really need much else. One thing that has bothered me about this car is something to do with the engine. It's not the engine itself, it's because this is a diesel and it is Euro 6, and Ford likes to add AdBlue, or require you to add AdBlue, which is a urea extract that you have to put in a separate tank next to the fuel filler, and it lasts about 3,000 miles, and when that runs out, the engine won't start anymore. So you get lots of warnings with about 1,000 miles to spare, and then you have to go and spend 30 quid at a petrol station and then pour it down the side of the car. If you're rubbish like me, it does come with a funnel, but it's just an extra bit of faff and expense that comes with some of these modern diesels. Gear selector down there is actually fine for doing 3-point turns. You really get used to rotating that quickly and accurately. Electric handbrake, I think this is a little credit card holder, which I've never used. A mode button, which I've also never used because this just stays in normal. It's a front wheel drive one. It's nothing fancy pants, so I've just not bothered using that. And that's about it. It has got a reversing camera, which is fine. The glove box is quite big. Yeah, there hasn't been anything about the interior that has really niggled me. But anyway, let's go for a little drive, and I'll tell you about how it drives and what has annoyed me there. Right, I'm going to take you for a very quick drive in the Kuga. I'm not going to do my full driving route, dual carriageways, twisty country roads and all that kind of stuff, because I did that on the Motorpoint review I did of a Kuga, which wasn't this exact one. It was a slightly different one. It didn't have as much detritus and seashells in here. Now, the only real niggle I've got with this car, it's not the only real niggle, I've got a few little ones. The AdBlue thing, covered that, a little bit annoying. The gearbox, it's an 8-speed automatic, and it is mostly fine. But when you're at low speed, sometimes around town, it can either hang on to revs weirdly, and it makes it feel like a clutch is slipping, or it's just a bit dim-witted and won't kick down when you want it to. So I've ended up driving this car just very differently to every press car, because I'm having to pay to put diesel in this myself, and the fact that diesel now costs more than Tutankhamun's codpiece. I've been driving it just gently, and it kind of reacts well to that, to lots of anticipation, gentle acceleration, everything else. Probably how a normal person drives a car. But yeah, when you actually boot it and start trying to drive it quickly, it just gets itself into knots, the gearbox. It doesn't really know what gear it wants to be in or anything else. Yeah, let's talk about the engine. So 1.5 litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel. Dead sexy me. It's got 120 horsepower, 0 to 60 is 11.7 seconds, which is as slow as to be irrelevant, and it does about 113 miles an hour flat out. Obviously, I don't think I've hit any of those figures. It just puts you in a slightly normal, languid mood to drive, which is perfectly fine. It does mean that no matter what I do, I get over 50 mpg, well, usually 50.5 mpg on a run with the aircon on, which is fine by me. It does about 580 miles to a tank. I know these are really boring things, but these are things that have mattered to me at the moment with fuel prices, with everything else. Oh, look, there's some caravans dumped at the side of the road. Ah, delightful. Excellent. And lots of police notices on them. Oh, thank you, kind sir. In terms of actual driving, it has got that slightly odd Ford steering that they seem to be doing at the moment. It's in the Focus, it's in the Puma, and it's in this. It's just slightly rubbery feeling that when you turn left, then right, it just feels a little bit odd. does turn into corners quicker than most SUVs, and it does feel a little bit sporty in that sense, but when you actually start driving quickly, it's quite roly-poly. The ST line's got stiff suspension than this, and that's a little bit better. But still, over some bumps, this is a bit harsh. So it's kind of a little bit floaty, and then you still feel bumps. So it's not the perfect suspension setup, but it's kind of par for the course, really. Visibility out is really good, not had any scrapes or bumps from not being able to see where I'm going, he says. Pulling out of quite a dangerous junction. No, it's all right. The reversing camera does get covered in water and muck quite easily. And it has got one of those little air spray nipples next to it, which I think is designed to clear it. Doesn't work all that well. In the interior, one thing I didn't mention is it does get caked in dust in here really quite easily. So yeah, you need to get your Hyacinth bouquet on. It's a reference for anyone that grew up in the 90s watching terrible BBC sitcoms. Anyway, that's pretty much all I can tell you about this. To drive on motorway cruises, it is very relaxing, sitting at 75 or slightly faster. And the main thing is the stereo is really good in this, that B&O system. So long journeys are not a chore by any stretch of the imagination. The seats are quite comfortable as well. You do feel slightly perched on them rather than sinking into them, but that's all right. And I have got chocolate stains on it. Sorry, Motorpoint. Anyway, that's probably all I need to talk about in terms of the driving of this. Let's go back to me for not really an outro. I suppose it is an outro, it's just not a conclusion. Yeah. I'm not sure I mentioned I've also got wireless charging mat down here. You can have your phone plugged in and use the wireless charger. I think if you've got an iPhone, it's clever enough to only use one of them though. Not both, so you don't have a massive battery fire down by your kneecap. That's the title of my sex tape. Right, in conclusion, what have I thought of my Ford Kuga? Over 8,000 miles and 6 months. Well, I've been really impressed with it, and it's just fitted into my life, and it doesn't annoy me in any real tangible sense, other than I have to put AdBlue in it every 3,000 miles, which does feel more often than you should have to do that. It's been getting 50 mpg everywhere I go. It is fine to drive. It's meant to be one of the sportier SUVs to drive, but to be honest, that's a bit like saying Boris Yeltsin was one of the sportier people in politics in the world. It's just okay. The ride can be a little bit firm, but it's not annoying. It's got Apple CarPlay. It's got a big boot. These are the things I care about at the moment with 2 little kids. And I know that's desperately unsexy and I should be wanting a Lamborghini Urus, but for me, at the moment, with prices of everything going through the roof, an efficient SUV does it for me. It looks quite nice as well. But anyway, this is about to go back to Motorpoint, and I'm going to get to choose, well, I've already chosen another car to have as mine for 6 months. And if you go on my Twitter, @TimRody, you'll probably be able to work out what that is, because I did a poll and I've let Twitter choose. Anyway, that's all for now. Do go and subscribe to Motorpoint if you'd be so kind, because it's a small channel at the moment and I really want to build it up and keep doing nearly new cool car reviews on it. And drop me comments for other types of videos that you want to see me do on this channel or that channel. And I will see you next time. Thank you for watching. It's lovely to be back. Goodbye.